Hey, everybody, and welcome to The Professors. I'm Paul Fabrizio.
And I'm Don Frazier.
And we're from McMurry University in beautiful Abilene, Texas.
Beautiful and toasty Abilene, Texas.
That's right. The temperature is a sweltering 93 degrees with humidity of about 93%.
That's relatively mild for a summer out here. So.
Yes, it is. Anyway, today we're going in a different direction. Instead of entertaining ourselves with professors here, we've got a professional here. How do you like that?
I'm trying to figure out what that says about professoring.
I don't know, but anyway, I love professors. But anyway, we're delighted to have David Heringer of McMurry University. He is the Vice President for Enrollment Management. Did I get your title correct, sir?
That's correct, yes. It's great to be here.
It is great to have you here. And, of course, the first question that somebody's got to ask is, what in the world is enrollment management? What does that mean? I mean, how do you do that? What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? And exactly,
Well,
explain yourself.
Nowadays, you're a facilitator, but what you do is you recruit and retain and graduate students.
So the students that show up in our classrooms first go through you.
They do.
All right.
And
so we do the outreach, and we buy their names when they take the ACT or the SAT, when they're sophomores, juniors, or seniors, and then we start to communicate with them and try to get them to visit campus, apply, get admitted, enroll.
And then once they're here, they're still yours to manage.
They are. I need your help because you guys are great in the classroom, so that's taken care of. But then once they're outside the classroom, we've got student affairs that we've got to deal with and make sure that they're having a positive residential life experience and a social experience. And if they need help academically, they can get in the AEC and get some help there. But the end result is we need them to graduate and become alums.
So basically, you're the first contact with the students all the way through until they graduate.
Correct.
So if we were comparing this to any other industry, say a widget factory, are y'all the sales force?
We are.
Okay.
We kind of do everything, though.
Yeah. I mean, sales force, customer service.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's
It's not just Salesforce. Yeah. But once you've got
financial affairs, I mean, it's financial aid, it's billing, it's everything. So we've got to treat them right.
Wow, so that's a heavy burden on your shoulders.
It is, but it's fun.
It may be the most important function at the university.
More than ours?
No, outside of ours. I mean, we're still an institution of higher education. Yet, we've got to have people to educate.
But you're our product.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, very good.
Do you feel like a product?
I don't feel like a product, but maybe at the end of this I will.
You've been commodified.
Where's my barcode on my forehead?
Yeah.
The product is in a very affirmative way.
Oh, okay. I feel better now. All right.
I feel like a product.
Well, you shouldn't.
Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure.
Where did you come from?
I was born and raised in Jamestown, North Dakota.
North Dakota.
North Dakota.
Where is Jamestown?
It would be 100 miles east of Bismarck.
Okay, but not quite to Fargo.
100 miles away from Fargo.
Okay, so you're out in the sunflower fields.
Right. If you go directly from Bismarck down to Abilene, Abilene's about 10 miles further west.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
A Great Plainsman.
Yes.
Okay.
So I grew up there, graduated from high school, then went to college at Rocky Mountain College in Billings, Montana. School similar to McMurry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you headed west a little bit.
I did.
How far a drive is that?
It's about 550 miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
You grew up in really beautiful places.
Did.
Yeah.
Did.
I mean, North Dakota's pretty flat, but there's
It is,
parts
but
of it.
it's there's the Badlands, and then where I grew up, it was hilly and wheat fields and lots of ducks. And that's why. That's why I like ducks.
You're a duck slayer, man. I know that about
yes,
you.
I am.
Okay, so Rocky Mountain College.
Yeah, what do you study at a place like that in order to get to where you are now?
And what was the school's mascot?
Battling Bears. Battling Bears.
They've got bears up there, so that makes sense.
Okay, so anyway.
So I studied. I was a double major, business administration and sociology and anthropology.
Okay.
Graduated, didn't have a job, but my buddy lived in Gillette, Wyoming, and his uncle had a construction company, so I went there in the summer. I wanted to go to graduate school, but didn't have any money. Mm-hmm. So I started building houses, and then the president of Rocky called me and said, "Hey, I've got a perfect job for you." I said, "What is it, Dr. DeRozier?" And he's like, "Well, we have this admissions counselor job that I'd like you to apply for."
The gateway job.
And I said, "Well, what is it?" I didn't when I selected Rocky, I wanted to go west, so I just picked a small school in the city and went. I didn't visit; I just enrolled.
And
so.
nobody went after you to
No,
recruit you.
no, right.
They
So
only, do
we
that,
just-
they only do that for athletes, right?
Yeah, so it was.
The entire Salesforce experience was not there.
It was not. I drove it, but anyway. So I said, "Sure, I'll come up and interview." So I did, and I got offered the job, and it was Wyoming and Eastern Montana and North Dakota was my territory.
Recruiting students into that school.
Yep.
Okay.
So
What a beautiful territory.
oh, it was phenomenal. My first week on the job, my boss then, Jim Spencer, says, "Okay, I'm going to go with you the first week and train you, and we're going to Western Wyoming, and bring your fishing pole."
If we must.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
And
we
you
left on
go,
a
wait, Yellowstone is there.
right. I mean, so
Great
we left.
Tetons.
We left to go to Rock Springs on a Sunday. We fished the entire way down, and got to
Wow.
Rock Springs like at midnight. The third day we were in Afton, Wyoming, which is the Star Valley right before Jackson Hole. And we have a college program there, and then we have one at 5:30 in Jackson Hole. So we're driving, and we get to the Star River, and I'm in my suit and tie. I still have a picture of this. But we're wading in this fish, and I catch a brown trout that's about 6 pounds. And I got it there, and he's got the picture, and I've got my waders on and my tie on, and we go, and off we go. And after that week, my dad said, "So how do you like this new job?" I said, "Dad, this is unbelievable. I get paid to be on the road. I don't have to buy my meals." I said, "This is the greatest job ever."
And I get a fish.
Right. Little did I know it was going to be a lot of work at the time, but that was my introduction to college admissions.
So you came in as a college recruiter.
I did.
All right.
Yep.
And you, in essence, have never left that field.
I always say I went to college in 1982, and I've never left.
Yeah.
And you had no interest in this
None.
before. It was never in your sight.
Not even on my radar.
Yeah, I would have had no idea that this job even existed when I
Yeah.
was heading off into college in
Right.
1983. Because
Right.
you're right, nobody was recruiting me. Nobody was telling
Yeah.
me things. I went to the university just down the road. And so, I
Right.
mean, it wasn't any sort of great transition. I've now had 2 daughters that have transitioned into
Yeah,
college.
It's a different story.
It is a completely
Oh.
different game these days than it was back in the dark ages when we were accidentally ending up in universities. I mean,
Yeah.
what was your recruiting experience?
What recruiting experience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I applied to one school, and I realized quickly I couldn't afford it. That was Loyola Marymount, so I didn't
Oh,
go. So I went to the local junior college, and then after 2 years, I've got to go someplace. So I applied to USC and UCLA, and USC sent me an acceptance letter that said, "Dear Trojan," and UCLA, their letter said, "Dear applicant."
Wow.
So I go, I'm going to be a Trojan. And that's how I made my decision to go to USC.
Yeah.
That is remarkable because now I'm getting the impression that if you wanted to go to Loyola Marymount, the money would have magically been there,
Probably.
and you would have plunged deep,
Deep
into debt.
Yep.
Yeah, but there was no effort on their part to do anything,
Yeah.
to actively try to recruit me, no help with financial aid. It's going to cost a lot of money. We couldn't afford it.
Why
So-
do you expect it's changed?
Yeah, well,
Net tuition revenue.
okay,
I mean,
what
from
do you-
82 to 86, I really didn't know that their admissions office existed at Rocky. I
exactly.
did not. Then I get the job in August of 86, and I'm on the road, and all of a sudden I have these territory goals I've got to meet. I've got to make all these phone calls. I've got to reach out to these kids that have sent their ACT test scores to us. Every kid I met at a college fair, I'd had to handwrite a note, stick it on a stamp on it, so they got it the next day. So all of a sudden I realized this is a sales job.
Did you see him lick that stamp? That's changed too. I'd like to
That's
point
right.
that out.
That's right.
So what happened then? You're obviously not at Rocky Mountain College
No,
anymore,
I
so
worked-
something happened. What was the transition?
I worked there for 2 years. My boss gave me a promotion, so then I was the assistant director. And then I got a job offer at Sierra Nevada College in Incline Village, Nevada, to be the director of admissions there.
You've been in such beautiful places.
I have. But I was a fish out of water there. I didn't belong there. It was California was a little bit different for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was
That's
there.
another conversation.
It is.
Whatever. It's full of different people.
Yeah, so I was there a year, and then my boss, Jim Spencer, left to go to Lycoming College in Pennsylvania, and then Dr. DeRosier called me and said, "Hey, would you come back and take Spencer's job at Rocky?"
Oh wow! So you rebounded back.
Yeah, and then I was there till 1995. Then I went to Bethel College in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's where the Scopes monkey trial. Isn't that somewhere around in
I
there?
think
We
maybe.
need a
I
historian
don't know.
for
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, better look that up. I'll check my auxiliary brain here in a second.
Then I went to Central Methodist in Missouri.
Okay.
In Fayette, Missouri. Then I went back to North Dakota, University of Mary in Bismarck.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of went back home.
And your family's all up in Jamestown.
No, now my mom lives in St. Joe, Missouri,
Oh, okay.
and I have a sister in Fargo, and then my two other sisters are one's in Kansas, one's in Washington State.
Okay, so scattered all up.
Yeah.
Missouri North. All right, we're coming up on our break.
Yeah, so what we're going to do when we come back is we're going to talk a little bit more about your actual job and how you go about doing it.
Okay.
And then we're going to be acting like parents, which we are.
Yeah.
And try
Which
to make sense of this whole
Sure.
admission sort of thing. So we'll return. Actually, we got 10 seconds left. So quick little story, anything?
No. What we'll do is we'll come back and we'll have that conversation. But I'm interested in the shift in the industry. We'll be right back.
Welcome to State House Press, a nonprofit publisher of quality books. State House Press and the McMurry Foundation Press are part of the Texas A&M University Press Consortium, which handles retail distribution for several small but distinguished publishers. Our entire list of offerings, with pictures, summaries, prices, and easy online ordering, is available in our section of the consortium website. State House Press is proud of its reputation for high standards of scholarship and readability. In addition to this, we at State House Press have recruited the talents of individuals such as Phil Collins on his book, The Alamo and Beyond. We release not only texana by contemporary authors, but reprints of classic accounts of Texas life and history otherwise inaccessible to the public. Our book list also incorporates the publications of the McMurry Foundation Press, specializing in the history of the Old South and the Civil War. We strive with our titles to make history accessible to as many readers as possible. To accomplish this task, we have recruited some of America's leading historians, as well as bright new scholars. We believe firmly in narrative history, in telling a good story, and in telling it well, without losing sight of the people who've made history and the events that changed a nation.
For questions or business inquiries, please visit the Texas Book Consortium at www.tamupress.com.
This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com.
And we're back from McMurry University in Abilene, Texas. I'm Paul Fabrizio.
And I'm Don Frazier, and we're the professors. We're interviewing Dave Heringer today, who is one of our colleagues here on campus, and he's in charge of enrollment management.
Yes, Vice President of Enrollment Management. VPEM is how it's...
And we've all admitted that when we were in college, what he did was mysterious.
That's right.
We never heard from an admissions counselor.
So Don and I are playing detectives now. We're going to try to understand what a VPEM does and what your role is on campus. So when we left the break, you were at the University of Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your job there? Were you...
I was a VP for enrollment management there.
At what point in your career did you become a VP of enrollment management?
95.
95. And when did the words enrollment management start showing up?
It was in the late 80s. I think Don Hostler was the one that invented it. A professor, I think, at Syracuse, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
There's
And
actually a history and
Yeah.
an industry
he
thing
wrote
to
a
this.
book, and that's kind of how it all evolved. And
And
things took
what's
off.
the philosophy behind such a position?
Basically, finding the right students that fit at an institution that will progress, graduate, and become successful alums.
So you've got to know something about your institution and be able
We
to
have
match it to the
we
right
have to know
candidate.
everything about the institution.
Okay. What brought you to McMurry?
I was at Lyon College in Batesville, Arkansas.
Okay, so you left University of Mary.
Yep.
Went to
And-
Lyons College.
And I'd interviewed at Lyon in the late 90s and turned them down. And then this position, they reached back out to me, and we thought, sure. Chris is my wife's from Miami Beach, and Bismarck's a little cold.
Oh, yeah.
And so she kind of wanted to get to a warmer climate. So she said, yeah, that would be a good idea.
So we're working our way down
Working
south.
our
Okay.
way
We are, yes. That's correct.
So you applied. You were at Lyons College,
Yep.
and for some reason you
And then,
decided, let's keep
I
going
got
farther
contacted
south.
from a headhunter with Academic Search.
Oh, okay.
And who I'd worked with before, and she said, I think this might be a good.
Oh, somebody's phone is going off.
It's a parent wanted to know admissions.
You can catch them in the break, man. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
But I suspect that in your line of work, that happens a lot. Your phone is always buzzing.
And I always answer it, no matter what time it rings.
Except for right now.
It's sales,
Right.
man.
Are we blowing? Is
No,
it-
we're good. I turned it off.
Okay.
Well, I just want to make sure I'm not missing a major with that phone call. It may want to get you to
Yeah.
answer that.
If it's a history major, who cares? But if it's political science, answer the phone.
Yeah.
Priorities here.
No, they're both high priorities.
So a headhunter got a hold of you and said, "There's a college in
In
Abilene,
Texas that I think you might be a good fit for. And I kind of, no, we're kind of happy where we're at. And she kept bugging me, so I said, sure, I'll go look at it. And got here, and like I said, the community that I felt here was pretty overwhelming. Everyone was genuine, sincere, would look you in the eye. The students I walked to would shake your hand or at least look you in the eye and say hello.
Yeah, it's kind of West Texas.
Yeah. And then then I came here, and we hadn't moved from North Dakota yet, so I stayed in President's Hall.
Oh, wow.
which
And-
is one of the dorms on campus.
Correct. That was not open at the time.
Yeah.
In industry, that's called eating your own dog food. Because you're having to live with the product you're
Right.
trying to sell.
And so I remember the graduation. I was stunned at how diverse our student body was.
Yeah, this is a remarkably diverse little
It
school.
is, and it's such a. I think it's who we are.
And it's naturally diverse.
It is.
I mean, it's not one of those places where you get this overt sense
No.
that we're trying to build a particular structure
Correct.
with our class. I mean, it's just who we appeal to.
Yeah, it's genuine, and I guess coming from Lyon, which was pretty waspy, and just seeing all of a sudden that diversity, just at watching graduation is when it jumped out. I remember calling my wife saying, "You're not going to believe how diverse McMurry is," and I
Well,
think that's such a great thing.
Even historically, the Texas frontier was a lot more diverse than, say, the frontier up in the northern plains, just
Yeah.
because of the way history played out. I've also been impressed at this institution. I've been here 25 years, which is close to how many years you've been
22.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
But we're both old salts compared to our colleague. But one thing that struck me about this school was how many different high schools are represented with a freshman class. I've been to a lot of different schools where you can go to that school and still see lots of people from your hometown.
Right.
But at McMurry, we get the one-offs.
We do. We do.
And it seems to be a great home for the one-offs, the ones that don't want to follow the pack to Norman State University X.
Right. We'll
And-
take the road less traveled.
Yeah, these are all road less traveled sort of folks, and they don't even realize that that's what they're doing.
They don't.
And
Which I think is so great.
yeah, I mean they're completely unaware. It's just who they are.
Right.
And so these are not the folks that are kind of backing up and saying, "Well, I'm going to be decidedly different." They're incidentally different.
Yeah.
as
It's
it
well
turns
put.
out.
That's true. Yeah, that's well put.
So
So you as VP Enrollment Management, you have to know this campus.
yeah, wow.
Beyond the description that Don just had, and you notice the diversity, how would you describe this place? And what kind of student then would be a success here?
Oh man, we cover the gamut in terms of student success. A lot of our students need some remediation, so the AEC helps them out. We
Yeah.
also got honors programs that kids go right into that. So I think we service a diverse academic profile as well. But I think our bread and butter kids are probably those kids that are 20 to 24 ACT that maybe are looking for a smaller place. I think we're very genuine. I think we have great faculty. We have wonderful facilities, I believe. Like, you go into the science building, they have toys in there that a lot of bigger schools don't have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that our students can actually do research with professors and get to know professors and do things. I think that's something that you can't, it's not duplicated at the large flagship institutions because they're being taught by a graduate assistant.
Yeah, I doubt there would be an undergraduate that has access to a studio.
Right.
And actually involved
Just
in
doing this.
producing and
You know, you
editing
got
a show like
two
this.
students here that are,
Yeah.
you know,
In the
they
middle of
don't
the
get
summer
to-
getting paid for it.
Right. Life's good.
So,
You said ACT 20 to 24, SAT?
950 to 1100.
Okay.
high school GPA.
Our average is about a 3.5.
Yeah.
Of our deposit students right now, it's 3.56. And to me, I'd rather look at 4 years of coursework than one test.
Oh, well, sure.
Okay.
And, students are much more than a test score.
Absolutely.
So how do you measure that? I mean, not measure it, but how do you look at that? Somebody applies for this place. What do you look for to see who would succeed here?
We look at their high school GPA, the 4 years of work, the test score, and then grit. Were they involved
Grit.
in stuff outside of high school?
Are they
Did
plucky?
they have a job? Were they a student leader? Because sometimes you get some of the students that are maybe a 3.0 student but are involved in everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably take that kid over someone that's just a bookworm.
Or who's been kind of cultivated by some sort of system.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
there is
exactly.
a
There is
GPA
system.
cultivation
There is.
system.
There is.
And, my daughter was 50th in her class out of 450,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good showing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, gosh, you weren't, in the top 12. What gives, baby? She said, well, I didn't do AP this.
Right,
I didn't do that. I mean, she just wasn't part of the system.
Right.
Instead, she, racked up 39 hours of dual credit.
Right.
Which is a nice savings in the
Which
pocket,
is sort of like, building your own scholarship
That's
when
right.
you go off to college. So,
That's exactly
hey, no
right.
argument from
No,
Dad.
no.
No one's going to remember your class rank, 107 out of 700. But, we got a break coming up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember
don't
my
either.
class.
Yeah, well, I do. We'll be
Anyway,
right back.
Yes.
Bear Leader Tours. Where will Bear Leader Tours take you? Everywhere. Paris. Bruges. Trier. Battlefields. Pearl Harbor. Pacific Beaches. New Orleans. Join the adventure.
www.mcwhinney.org.
This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com.
And we're back. I'm Paul Fabrizio
And I'm Don Frazier, and this is The Professors.
at McMurry University, beautiful Abilene, Texas. And our guest, Dave Heringer, Vice President, Enrollment Management, who somehow migrated from the great north,
The great frozen north,
the
apparently.
great frozen north.
Full of trout streams and
That's
mountains.
right.
And
Have you gone
Sunflower
fishing here?
fields.
And
I have gone fishing here. I didn't catch anything. It was hot.
it was hot. And
it's a
miserable.
whole different kind of experience
It
than it
is.
was in,
It is.
in Yellowstone. And,
Now, I think in a fall day it'd probably be nice, but I fished in the middle of the summer and it wasn't very enjoyable.
Yeah, that would be miserable.
Yeah, it was not a good idea on my part.
Okay, so before the break, we were talking about what you look for in a student coming here. So if there's a student who's listening right now in high school, what message would you tell them about applying to school in general and about applying to McMurry?
And finding the match.
Yeah.
Because every school out there, I can tell you from recent experience, will tell you that they're a small community
Caring,
that loves you and they
personalized.
give you
Even
Care
the
Bear.
big
and-
schools.
Even the big schools, yeah. Yeah, we have an enrollment of 60,000, but we feel like a small
small
liberal
school.
arts
And you'll be treated one-on-one. And
That's
I mean, if
exactly
you look
right.
at every school
And-
website, they
and
all
here's
say
your
the
number.
same thing.
All
Yeah.
of them.
So help us out here.
How do we cut through all that smoke and mirror and fog?
Well, part of the problem is us as enrollment people create some of the smoke and mirrors because
sure.
we now market to students. You know, we don't counsel students anymore that this is a good place for you. We market. And
Okay, explain the difference.
when I started, if let's say you both were applicants, and you're from Rochester, New York, and he's from Ten Sleep, Wyoming, you're
Only an average student.
right, but with no interest in anything. He's got a lot of grit, been involved, active, lives on a ranch. And
Know
you
how
both-
to break horses.
And you both say, I want to come to Rocky. Then I think I need to find out why you really want to. Why do you want to come to Rocky versus why do you want to come to Rocky? And then if it's a good match, I'll say come on. But if it's not, I'll think maybe you should look at some schools on the East Seaboard because the Wild West is a little bit different. It's
Yeah.
not like
It's wild and it's west.
So you would actually help us
we would.
in our college admission process, even if it's not necessarily to the school.
Right, because like when I first started, I would write down I would ask you what 3 schools you applied for, and then we would talk about those. Why is Rocky number 2 on your list, and why is University of Wyoming first? And if you came from a school of 10 graduates, do you really think that's a good idea to go to the University of Wyoming versus where you're going to be one of 10,000?
Yeah.
And so we counseled them through that. We still tried to sell them, but there was times when I would say, I don't think this is the right fit for you.
Okay, and now you use the word market rather than counsel. What does that mean? How would it be
No.
different?
Oh, geez. Because
And he pulls out his cell phone.
this made it different.
Okay.
Students today live online. Us three, we go online to buy something or do something,
Right.
but we don't live. So if we're not talking to these students on this, we are not on their radar.
Okay.
So we're sending out digital ads. Hey, come visit McMurray. We're geofencing a high school location, so every time they're on their phone at school, an ad will pop up about McMurray. We're doing things that I didn't do when I first started. We went to the flashy brochures and the view books in the early 90s and 2000s. I quit doing a view book in 2007 because the kids were pitching them in the trash.
Sure.
So we just repurposed that money and did digital stuff and mobile stuff. But I think schools now market.
So it's all
to
about
kids.
eyeballs and impressions. And
It is.
It's the straight up
And
marketing.
engagement and things. that-
Same as Toyota.
Then,
Yeah.
as a concerned parent, then how would a student know where to go to school, rather than it's some aggressive sales pitch saying this is the right school for you, even if it's not?
I think if you do it right, at some point you're going to tell that applicant that it's not a good fit. Or they're going to come to campus and realize this is not for me. Because we've got to get kids to visit campus. We had 1,700 applications so far this year. 600 of them did not complete the process. So that tells me they I'll just apply.
Just shotgunning.
Yep. Or my buddy went there, I'm going to apply. Or we said, we'll waive your app fee because we're going to give you this marketing pitch. If you apply by this date, it's free. So there's a lot of marketing things that go on that didn't happen 10, 15 years ago.
And you buy a list.
We buy a list, test scores, ACT, SAT, NRCCUA, CBSS, and we're pinpointing students that we want. So we talked about 20 to 24. I buy that list, and I buy a list of 27 to 32 on the ACT.
If you had a magic wand and you could do it just exactly the way you think it ought to be done.
Well, that's a good question. There's a lot of, it's so sophisticated now that I guess that's why I've never left small private education, because there is that personalized approach. I still like, when a family comes to visit, I still like to visit with them and their parents.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I love doing that when they
because I
come
think
by on a tour.
Right, and just tell me about yourself and why you're interested in McMurry, and then parents, what questions do you have? Because
In other words, the counseling part.
yeah,
I love that
still comes
pitch part.
through.
When they come in my class.
it's still
yeah.
there, and yet we still got to do all this marketing stuff.
You got to do the formula.
We do, but at the end of the day, once kids are applying and admitted, it's our job to get them to campus. Because I think because I always say McMurry's a place of faces. The more faces we can get in front of a prospective student and their parents, the better off we'll be.
Even if they look like
Me.
That's why I'm never included in this thing.
That's right. No wonder we never get tour groups.
That's why we have time to do this podcast. Dave Heringer avoids us. An average high school student, with a decent GPA, how many colleges would reach out to them?
Oh,
In other
lots.
words, like, how much competition is there for an average student?
Over 4,000 schools. And if you're an average student, like the highly selected schools aren't going to buy that list.
Yeah, they don't have to.
They're not. But we're competing with the 3 local entities here: Angelo, Tarleton, Texas, College Station, UT. Last year we lost a girl to Rice.
Mm-hmm.
She worked at line. I went there every month to see where she was at, and finally she just said, "I hate to tell you this, but I got admitted to Rice, and I'm going to go there." I said, "Don't feel bad.
Yeah, that's
should go.
really good.
Yeah.
Now, if you'd have told
Rice
me
is
you're
a great
going
school.
To Tarleton.
then I would have said we have a problem." But,
Nothing against Tarleton,
No,
but I mean,
no,
why
but
they're
it was
instead of
just,
here? Yeah,
she was brilliant. She's 34 ACT.
yeah.
And I just said, you need to go there.
And I worry about having just been through this process, that the pitching is being made to 18-year-olds, and I have an 18-year-old girl, and so the pitch is pretty. Come to our school because it's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And it's stylish, and your friends will say, "Ooh wee," and man,
You
you'll
wanna
have
be there.
you'll have the best, chat face, Pinstagram.
The very
Images.
first school my daughter was interested in was in Vermont, and it was because it looked really good. And
It looked
It
good.
looked
Yeah.
really good.
Had all the curves. Well,
But that's why you need to go visit, or you need to wind it, narrow it down to see, Vermont really for me?
Yeah.
yeah,
Just because it looks pretty.
Yeah, just because it looks pretty in the summertime.
yeah, you may
when
want to
there's
leave your
no
Trump
class.
sticker at
It's
home.
40
though,
below in January, and
Don't go.
Right,
Don't
so-
go.
I was on a campus tour, and the pitch was all about their new facilities this, new facilities that, and absolutely nothing about their academic program.
Right.
Zero. And I asked some of the faculty members there, "Well, what's this all about?" And they said, "Well, this is all about getting the students here. So we built a big stadium because that's
It's a
eye
big
candy.
draw.
Yeah, that's eye candy. Built a new science facility because it's eye candy. We didn't need it, and we went into debt to do it. But it's got all sorts of moving pictures and all sorts of touch screens and high tech stuff. So it just feels super sophisticated.
yeah. And to play off that, though, I've always thought McMurry should do an ad campaign that says, UT, this is their classroom, and it's a picture of the football stadium.
Yeah,
And then here's McMurray, and it's this shot right here.
Yeah.
With a student. That's our classroom. If I'm a parent, I'm going to pick that. I'm going to
Yeah.
notice that right away.
but if you're an 18-year-old, you're going to pick that stadium.
Right,
I'm afraid.
Why?
But-
Why in the end did I go to USC or was interested in UCLA? I wanted a big football stadium. I wanted a big.
And some
kind of
students
college
want
so
that
stadium.
shallow.
experience. Yeah.
You better believe I'm very shallow. I totally admit it. But that's what I cared about, and I had a great time going to football games.
But I also think too that we have to recruit the parents, because at the end of the day, that parent's going to write some form of check.
Mm-hmm. And
pay
you
tuition.
need to
And
be
they-
over the kids' shoulders saying, just because you can do that, there's more to life.
Absolutely.
Just
Absolutely.
because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. So I shouldn't have been as shallow as I was then.
Well, you've matured since then.
Look
You've
where you are
thrown
now.
Yeah, I mean, you are four square into a school that does not have a big flashy stadium.
Well, my dad was over my shoulder when I was applying to USC, and he said, "Well, I went to USC." So,
Well,
Well, that's some
that was,
influence.
that was a
Some
legacy.
influence.
that's always
right,
kind
that's
of
right.
part of
So
it.
anyway,
And the big time is where you are.
I'm sorry.
The big
Big time is where you are. People think it's UT or it's whatever. The big time is
time
at
is-
McMurry.
Okay,
Well,
we're going to take.
Yeah, I want to unpack that when we
Yeah, a
come
little
back
bit.
from the break.
And also, I'm really curious about once the students are here, what services are provided. Okay.
All right, we're going
We're
to
gonna
talk
take
about
that
that. Yeah, right after this break. This is the professors.
When you support McWhinney History Education Group, you also support the many young workers who operate and maintain the company's digital operations. These are dedicated university students who handle many things such as filming, recording, and editing content for McWhinney, as well as cultivate the layout and structure of McWhinney's various websites, including its associated channel on YouTube. We are a nonprofit organization that exists from donations from interested persons and history enthusiasts alike. Donations enable our students to obtain a higher education, job training, and career bolstering skills. If you would like to donate, please visit us at www.mcwhinney.org and click on our About Us tab to learn more.
This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com. This portion of the show is reserved for advertisements. If you are interested in filling this portion with ads for your business, please call 325-793-4686 or email director@tfhcc.com.
And we're back, and this is Paul Fabrizio.
I'm Don Frazier, and this is the professors. We're visiting today with Dave. Dave.
With Dave
Heringer, who's the Vice President of Enrollment Management at McMurry University. We're learning some things.
We certainly are. And you left the last break with this slogan that caught us both by surprise. So say it one more time.
The big time is where you are.
The big time is where you are.
And it's actually from a coach, Frosty Westerling, that I think worked at Linfield or one of the schools up, and he was a coach. But, he'd always talk about, I'm going to recruit Dr. Frazier here to play football. But Dr. Frazier's thing, he plays the first year and think, but, I'm pretty good. I perhaps should go to USC.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach said, no, you know what? The big time is where you are. And that is here. Don't be thinking of something else. Make this your big time.
Yeah, live in the present in this place.
Where you can do things because we're doing things. And I say it a lot to students. Like when a student comes in and having an issue and thinking about transferring, I'll say, why do you want to transfer? Well, because my friend goes to tech. I'll say, well, you need to make this the big time and take advantage of opportunities like this. Get to know your professors. Because 10 years down the road, your degree is going to get you a job, or you're going to be sought after.
Now, there was some news that came out.
There was,
recently.
yes.
And you want to
Speaking of
share
jobs.
this?
Sure.
Please.
Zippia.com came out, I think it was it last week?
Was it? What did you say? Zip you?
Zippia.com.
Oh, Zip you.
And they listed all the best schools in each state where students get jobs, and McMurry University came up for Texas.
So we're smoking places like Rice
Absolutely.
and
UT
UT
Austin.
and Hullabaloo, Connect, A&M.
And if you think about it, you know, those places are graduating in huge numbers,
Yeah.
Right.
but the students that make it through here are ready. And they've got the, I don't mean that they're ready for life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can solve problems, they can think on their own, they can communicate.
I've been amazed at where our people go.
Yeah.
And what all they do. Do you have any former students that are now professors themselves?
No, I have no students that are professors. We train our students to be spies and lawyers.
Yeah, spies and lawyers in your department. Ours are.
That's what we do in political science.
We crank out a lot of football coaches and history professors and school teachers, and that's kind of our bread and butter. But we also turn out an occasional spy and an occasional lawyer. But I'm amazed at what level they're operating.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think what's more interesting about this data is, you know, everyone talks about their placement rate after 6 months of graduation. Well, this is after 10 years. And so that's where people are in their careers.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so
Oh,
profound
that's
about
interesting.
it.
That's 10 years.
I think it's 10 years. I need
so
to.
It's not immediately after.
No, there's a benchmark, and I think that's what was so remarkable to me was, wow, they're in their careers, they're doing things. You know, because I could get a job at 7-Eleven after I graduate.
Right.
I'm a part of that statistic, but I'm not in what I want to do.
Right. Is that what we're training you for
Right.
when you come to McMurry?
Right.
Well, I often tell my students that we're not training you for the cubicle.
Correct.
We're trying to train you for the corner suite.
Right.
And this is a leadership
You're going
training
to be a
school.
leader. There you go.
And not just I'm going to work somewhere in the process.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I think we have a great educational product and then some.
Right. Some people would call that value added.
Right.
Yeah. And our focus is on training people how to think.
Correct.
And
reading, writing, and thinking.
Yeah. And I think that's what.
I think
that
this
is going
validates
after.
that. And then if you think that, you know, I think 40% of the jobs that this next group will take have yet to be created.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the skills where you can communicate, solve problems, work independently, you're going to get looked at than if you don't have some of those skills. So what we produce here is pretty phenomenal.
Okay.
But so hard to quantify. I mean,
Yeah,
how do
I
you
know.
sell that?
Yeah, it is hard.
I mean, how do you get past things like I want pretty, I want, a vibrant Greek life, I want, which
I
is
want
what
a big college experience. With
I want
a
the
big
stadium.
fraternity. Yeah.
Right.
because I'm shallow.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, that's the hard part of my job.
Yeah.
You know, also, if you look at sticker shock, so we cost $36,000. That a certain percent of students, that's a brick wall to them. They're not going around it. So we've got to talk about, you know what, you're really not paying $36,000 because we're going to give you some aid because you're a decent student and you're going to get a scholarship. But it's hard to communicate that to the student and the parents when they see $36,000.
Yeah, the pricing in small liberal arts schools has never made sense to me.
No, it's not. And if that's one thing I could change, that's what I would change.
So magic wand, you'd say this is exactly what you're going to pay when you come in here. It's not going to be
And this is-
discounted.
And this is what you're going to get.
Yeah,
Because
just like ordering off a menu.
Right.
Because people would compare that to in-state tuition at A&M or Texas Tech or something like
Right.
that, and they go, McMurry is so much more.
But
But at the
they
end of the-
hide all these other sort
The
of costs.
fees,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden at the end of the day, we're actually less. Because those students that I'm talking about, they may not get anything to go to tech.
Correct.
And yet we're discounting that right up front. And then all these fees, all of a sudden, if you look at the bottom line, we're less expensive. And you're getting a lot more.
But what a strange sort of pachinko machine you have to go
Yeah,
through
that's
to
right.
get to that number.
Right.
And
And it's
yeah,
right.
dunk,
It's-
dunk, dunk,
right.
dunk, 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 dunk. And sometimes in some of our college hunts, that number went up.
Right.
So, you have the initial sticker shock, and then when you finally get ready to sign, it's like, wait, this is actually more than we
Isn't
thought.
what I was told. There's something funny going on here.
Yeah.
We've got less than 2 minutes left. there's parents who are listening. What's a message to those parents? What should they know?
Yeah.
They need to make sure that their students are taking courses that will get them admitted. They don't have to take all of AP. I think they should take advantage of dual credit if they can. They need the sciences. They need the math. They need to take a standardized test. One thing I've noticed since I've come to Texas, a lot of students do not test till their senior year.
Yeah.
And that's troubling to me. I think they should be testing as a junior.
Early and often.
Yes,
ACT,
so they can get prepared.
SAT.
And then, more importantly, some of our minority students don't take it till the spring of their senior year. And it's the first shot they've had at it, and they don't do well on it because they're not prepared.
Yeah, they haven't seen the elephant. As
They haven't.
say.
They haven't. So I think just make sure that they take a solid curriculum, get involved, have some grit. Don't just be a bookworm, but I think grit's important in life.
Yeah, well, yeah, that transcends even the college
It
hunt.
does. And then just be involved in your student's life and their application process, because colleges are going to recruit to your student, and they're going to have to recruit to you.
And real quickly on financial aid, what questions should they ask before? We've got 30 seconds left.
They just need to make sure they complete the free application for federal student aid early.
That's
FAFSA.
called the FAFSA.
FAFSA.
Early and often.
Yep. And then once that, schools will start reaching out.
And then can they negotiate with the school?
They can.
That's okay.
I don't.
That's-
I don't like the shell game, so I'm always going to put our best offer up front.
but other schools might not. So
Correct.
You need to ask those questions.
You do. And if they want my opinion, they can contact me, and I'll help them with any issue they have, regardless if it's McMurry. I
Okay.
still have that service that I need to provide.
That counseling
Yes.
part.
All right.
Our
It's been a
thanks
great
to
show.
David
Yeah.
Heringer, the Vice President of Enrollment Management at McMurry University. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. This has been very fun.
Class dismissed.